It means a lot. I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to prove her right. You know, that's not an easy thing to do, to take a chance on somebody that nobody knows about or, you know, thinks deserves a shot or whatever it is. And so to trust your instincts and trust people around you and to pull the trigger, and it means a lot. It sure does. But once you know her and once I know her, it doesn't surprise me one bit. You know, she's one of one. She's unique. And I'll say this, it's everything that we kind of are and what we're about has started with her. It's really her. It's her vision. Like, I'm fortunate she allows me to be myself. I don't feel like I have to be somebody I'm not. And you can't always do that. You can't, you know. And so with that, I can coach. I can do what I need to do, and I appreciate that. So she took a chance on me, and yeah, it feels good to prove her right, but we're not done either.
Sheila's a pit bull, and I love what he said in terms of she let me be myself. That's become another reoccurring theme. You look at with Dan Campbell, Calvin Shepard. You look at that relationship. How he said, hell no. If you come in here, you're keeping your locks. Like, this is who you are, Calvin Shepard. This is who she is. Sheila has had a lot of time to sit back in the wings and watch other members of her family run this team and see how they ran it and how they ran it wrong and learn from it. And then when she got her opportunity, kind of see what went right, what went wrong. And finally say, you just got to be yourself. You got to be different. She changed her name because she wants to be herself. She doesn't want to be, she's a member of the family 100%. Don't get me in trouble. But she wants to be her version. She wants to be Sheila Hamp. She wants to show you what she can do. And in doing that, she's got to empower a coach to be able to do what he needs to do. You got to empower a GM, trust him to do what he needs to do. And I think that's the dynamic, is they trust each other once again. But it's also being authentic to who you are. Dan Campbell is the same coach from that very first press conference. Brad Holmes is the same guy that was working at Enterprise. And Sheila Hamp is the same person that put her hands in her head because she was tired of the madness in Detroit.
Hey, he talked about his guy, Bill Parcells, the guy that taught him basically everything. And I just love it because yesterday we brought it up. He's part of the Bill Parcells tree, which is pretty damn good. Bill Belichick's off that tree, for crying out loud. This Dan Campbell, man, he came here ready to coach. I liked him when he was the interim coach with the Dolphins. He just showed that this is a guy, he's a leader. And then he went under Sean Payton, who was also under Bill Parcells. It's a great thing, guys. We got the right guy, finally, after all of those guys, after, you know it, Marty Morningweg, Rod Marinelli, even Steve Mariucci to a point.
I love Mooch.
Mooch was great. He didn't want Joey Harrington. Matt Millen did. That was the end of Steve Mariucci.
There you go.
Just goes to show you about the organization, though,
exactly.
right?
100%.
Everyone
One
together.
guy wanted one thing, one guy wanted the other.
Everyone together. Him and Brad Holmes, they had two gloves, man.
Yeah, man, you brought up Mooch, man. I love Mooch. I actually forgot again what I was going to say.
That's all right, because let me tell you something. We're talking about.
You train of thought?
You guys are great. You guys are great.
But Dan Campbell,
you know, great leaders, right?
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, I remembered it.
Go ahead. You want?
I can make it quick. Mike Nolan. We had Mike Nolan here yesterday. And the good thing about, what did he talk about? He talked about he knew that Dan Campbell would have this type of success because he remembers Dan from when they coached together. He remembers Dan as a player. Like, when people say that sometimes, Ryan, you can tell they're BS. But, oh, man, I always knew that this person would be able to get here, full of it. When you hear people talk about Dan Campbell from the past, you know they're telling the truth, and Mike Nolan just told us that yesterday.
You know, I go back to, you know, when Sheila told the story, when she took over and there was a reset for this organization, she didn't call somebody that was in sports, in professional sports. She called somebody that was in business, because leadership in true leaders, you could be a leader at the AAA across the street, or at the gas station, at the haircut joint. You could be a great leader anywhere. Yeah. You have to have the similar characteristics. You know, integrity, self-awareness, humility.
Starts at the top.
Teamwork. One common goal. You lift people up around you. Flexibility. Learning is always contagious. Learning is always continuous. Respect for one another. These are leadership traits that every great leader has. And Sheila wanted that organization to emulate that mold. And again, when you bring in Chris Spielman, when you bring in Dan Campbell, when you bring in Brad Holmes, you do that because you believe they have all of these qualities. So you go back to the Kelvin Shepherd and his locks.
Yep.
You know, Dan Campbell was able to tell Kelvin Shepherd to be who he was because Dan Campbell is allowed to be who he is. He wasn't asked to be put in some box. You'll remember his press conference was not widely lauded.
No, not at all. Him and Nick Sirianni got tore apart.
He got tore up in the national media, but he was this
where's Joey Taylor these days?
Tobacco chewing, dip spitting, bite your kneecaps kind of guy, and that's who we were hiring.
Yeah.
And that's who you go be. And when you are authentic in that, I just think the sky's the limit for you, and everybody else around you can be authentic. And those things, whether you're a football coach or again, Braylon, you're the CEO of a coffee shop. You know, leadership is contagious, man. Leadership lifts everybody up.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at people that allow people to be themselves. Stan Kroenke allowed Sean McVay to be this quirky young dude, always on the go. Like, he allows them to be himself. They have success. Owners that allow coaches to be themselves, GMs, presidents, etc. You just see authenticity. When you're authentic, you're going to be the best version of yourself, and you're going to have success. Look at Bill Belichick. Like, nobody else can be Bill Belichick, but Robert Kraft allowed Bill to be that. He said, look, I know where you're coming from. I know who you coached under. I'm going to let you be Bill Belichick. And give him Tom Brady. He's had tons and tons of success. You just got to be yourself, man. But you got to have somebody that'll let you. Somebody puts the battery pack in you and say, hey, man, go out there and be yourself and be great. Look at Baker Mayfield. What do we talk about with Baker Mayfield?
Just be Baker.
Sean McVay, Todd Bowles. They told him, just be Baker Mayfield. And he's really turned his career around. I know we're not talking about Baker, but it's about people allowing you to be yourself.
Hey, Dan Campbell today was announced as a finalist for NFL Coach of the Year. And I want to say this. I hope this is voted on after the playoffs are done. Because if you're looking at all the coaches now, and I'm including the Houston Texans head coach, and why is his name out of my head right now? DeMeco Ryans. And there are other guys that did a great job. But Dan Campbell is hands down the NFL Coach of the Year. That's got to be a landslide victory if they're voting after the entire season and playoffs are over. Am I wrong about this?
Here.
What has he done for this team? This band of nobodies is now 60 minutes away from the Super Bowl.
Who are the four finalists?
Well, I would say it's Dan, Kevin Stefanski, who brought the Browns back.
And then maybe Sean McDermott?
No, it wasn't.
Or
McDermott.
Matt LaFleur?
Sean McVay?
No.
Matt LaFleur? Why not Matt LaFleur?
Well,
Matt LaFleur, too.
So, anyway, this is what I say. The award is voted now that weekend or that week of the Super Bowl. They do it that Friday. It's the award show. It's the big gala.
Yeah.
The reason why they do that is so that this can factor into their decision. No, meaning Dan Campbell's going to win. Dan Campbell's going to win. There's no way that you cannot vote for Dan Campbell. Look, and I know Kevin Stefanski had 4 different quarterbacks this year, still had gotten the playoffs. I know what those other guys did. He went 12-5, but not only that, he told you 3 years ago what he was going to do. Go ahead, Ryan.
I was going to say, I could be, you guys, obviously, I'm just telling you, I think DeMeco Ryans is the coach of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, I love.
What if you took it all through the playoffs?
DeMeco Ryans to me
he
is the
did
coach
win a
of the year.
playoff game too.
DeMeco Ryans took over a 3-win team.
Yeah.
They won 3 games or less 3 years in a row and drafted a rookie quarterback and won a playoff game and won the division. I love Dan Campbell. Look, this is not trying to knock Dan Campbell down.
We know.
DeMeco Ryans is the coach of the year to me.
I forgot they won that first playoff round.
Yeah.
I did forget they won that first playoff. Yeah,
they beat Cleveland's ass.
That's how. I just mentioned those bombs.
More Lions.